We are on to the 22nd part of lecture series of Taittareeya Upanishad. I've pasted the Upanishad on the top if you want to follow along with Binduji. And also a reminder that all these recordings are available as replays, or if you go to Advaita Retold, Binduji has posted all his videos there for you to follow up. And last class was Pranamaya Kosa. So I'll close the chat and hand raising for the time being, and after the presentation from Binduji, we'll open up for a half an hour discussion. Over to you, Binduji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all. As Prakash has said, we are on to the 22nd session of Taittareeya Upanishad. And in the last 2-3 sessions, the meditation or the upasana on the different sheaths after creation from Atma was discussed. So we'll run through that and enter into the Pranamaya Kosa and then continue further. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lova Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashi Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibeda Vipagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Brahmanandavalli Shanti Mantram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Tasmad va ye tasmad atmana akashas samputaha is from where the Atma, from where the creation starts in the form of meditation here as to the subtle principles of Akasha, space. Akasha Vayu, from the subtle principle Akasha comes the Vayu, and from subtle Vayu comes Agnihi, the fire principle. From the fire principle comes Apaha, means the water principle. Adbyah Prithivi. From the water principle is the earth principle. Up to this level, it is all subtle forms or principles, what we call in this technical term as tanmatra, means in their pure nature, without any gross way to conceive them. They are all principles. So, after that, the prakriya or the process of panchikaranam takes place. Half of the principal element with 12.5 of the remaining 4. When mixed together, we get the gross akasha, which is perceivable by human and animals through their, sense organs and mind. So from a gross principle called Prithvi, which is the earth, means all the earthly things, which is all the planets, etc., comes Aushadayaha, the plants and trees, which are nothing but the food for the rest of the animals in the surface of earth. And it is because of the food available, the animals and the human beings are able to survive. So we discussed Annamaya Sharira, which we are all familiar with this. That is the body which is identified as what we are is made of food elements. And it is born out of food of our parents. We survive on that. And after our survival, after the period is over, the body goes back to the fundamental elements of back to in the form of food for the trees and the vegetation. So this cycle is continued. So therefore, this body, which we consider as our physical body, is Anna Rasamayaha. Purusho Anna Rasamayaha. So this Purusha here means this physical body has got essence of food. And the head is the place where Tasya Idameva Shiraha. We all have a head, not only we, animals and birds, all of them have. I am Dakshina Pakshaha. So the right side has got the part has got a right side and Uttara Paksha left side. And trunk is I am Atma. It is the central portion. And Pucham Pradishta, whatever is lower side, the limbs, etc., is the foundation or Pradishta. That is how the conception of the individual is being made as a equivalent to a bird, with the head as a bird head, the right wing, left wing as the Uttara Paksha, Dakshina Paksha, and the trunk of the bird as the Atma. Or Atma here doesn't mean the self, but it is the central portion where all the activities related to that in that body takes place. And Pucham Pradishta, the lower portion, the tail portion, or whatever is from the navel and below, is the basis on which the movement and the fixation to the ground takes place. Now with this is what is called the Annamaya Kosa, or the sheath of food, is to be meditated upon. Ye Annam Brahma Upasate, one who meditates on this body as Brahma itself. That is where the upasana is taking place. So Sarvaushadam Uchade. So he becomes the supreme medicine or supreme most person for the supreme most body for the purpose. Means basically he has a well-nourished body, one who is it. Annam hi bhutanam jeshtam. So of all living being, he becomes the one which is surviving on first one to be born, and bhutani jayante, from that annad, from that food, the remaining creation takes place. Jata nyannena vardante, that takes place, further growth takes place. So all those things we have seen that in the previous classes. So Anyo Andara Atma Pranamaya. This is where we have entered in the last class towards the end. Anyaha means separate from the physical body, Annamaya Kosha. Andaraha, inner to that, or here Andara means inner to the Annamaya, or subtler to the Annamaya, or subtler to the food body. Atma means there is a body. Here again Atma means body, which is of Pranamaya. Maya, the word Maya is for adhikaranarthe. It means mayat pratyaya is for where the activity takes place, or the substratum where the pranas function. So there is a body of prana which is inside the food body, and that tenesha purnaha. Tena means because of the prana, the esha purnaha means this annamaya becomes filled. That means the entire food sheath is now filled with the vital air sheath. And Saesha Purusha Vidaha. The shape of the vital body, of vital air body, is that of the food body because it pervades the food body. Therefore, Anvayam Purusha Vidaha. According to the shape of the food body is the shape of the vital body also, vital air body. Tasya prana eva shiraha. The mukhya prana, or the one which is breath, the breath which we are taking in, the breath what we are taking in, we take it through the nostrils and the mouth, and whenever that is, it is in the head portion. So the prana is in the head. Tasya prana eva shiraha. Vyano dakshina pakshaha, apana uttara pakshaha. So vyana and apana are the other two vital layers. Akasha Atma is Samana. Akasha here standing for Samana. And Prithivi Pucham Pradishta is Udana. That the one which is for the purging and all. The excretion and purging. So the five vital layers are used for the different purpose on which this body is functioning in the subtle realm of the prana. Prana Devam Anuprananti. Now, because of the prana in the body, physical body, and the devas, here the devas are principal deities which are controlling the vital organs in the body. Anuprananti, they are controlled by this or according to the functions of the prana. Manushya Pashavaschaye, both the human beings as well as animals. Sorry. Prano hi bhutana mayuhu. And the length of lifespan of bhutana, of the living beings, is depending upon the prana. That it's a known fact to us. We also know that when the prana goes from this body is declared dead. Tasmat sarvayusham uchyate. So, therefore, for sarvam, for everyone, this is what the prana is called the ayush, or the lifespan. Sarvameva sa ayuryanti. And everything is now depending upon the ayu for their life. And ye pranam brahma upasate. This is where we stopped last time. One who meditates upon prana as Brahma itself. This prana, what we are breathing, as the Brahman itself. He achieves Bhutana Mayu. He becomes the life principle for all the creation. Tasmat sarvayusha muchyate. Therefore, he is called, such a person is called one who has done that meditation and achieved this thing. He achieves the life of all the beings. That means he is allowed to continue in his body as per the body which is taken. That is, the 100 years is the lifespan considered for a human being. So for a human being who has lived up to 100 years is the benefit of the person who does Brahma Upasana. And that too 100 years without any sickness and any degrading of the vital organs and the sense organs. His teeth, eyes, ears, everything will be perfectly functioning at the age of 100 also. His body will have the shape, but it will show the signs of aging. Tasya esha eva shiraha atma, asharira atma, ya purvasya. Like the earlier case of Annamaya, they think, here Pranamaya also we have to understand in the same fashion. Ya purvasya means like the previous one. Now, from the Pranamaya, there is a level of subtle creation. Now that subtle creation, tasmadva yetasmat pranamayat, anyaha andara atmaha manomaya. There is anyaha, there is something separate from the pranamaya. Antara means again subtle or inner to the pranamaya, and that sharira, atma, is called manomaya. Now manomaya, in the sense that it is constituted of the mind, tena esha purnaha. By that manomaya, this means the pranamaya kosha is purnaha, is permeated. Saha esha va eva purusha vidaha. So this means this mind body of the mind body, or the mind sheet, or the kosha, manomaya kosha, is purusha vidaha, is in the form of a man, because it is pervading the vital air sheath which is pervading the annamaya kosha. So even though they are subtler inward, but their permeation is to the body. That is why with the sense organs and the mind, manomaya kosha means it's not the mind alone here. We have to take both the mind as well as the sense organs of perception, sense organs of action, control of them, reciprocal of them, reaction to them, and all of them are controlled from the mind level. So it is in the form of a human being or the Annamaya Sharira itself. That is why we are able to have the feeling both inward the body and outward the body of the sense of touch, sense of heat, and tinkling, etc., all throughout the body, which is a sensation at the sensory level and which is acknowledged at the mind level, is the mind. Because it is subtler than the prana, therefore it is not possible for prana to know it, only the mind can know it. Even though it is permeating the prana, just as the Annamaya kosha is permeated by the pranamaya, but the Annamaya kosha cannot know the pranamaya which is permeated inside it. And that is where the ananyatvam has to be kept in mind. Same way, the pranamaya kosha, the vital air sheath, is permeated by the manomaya kosha, which is including the mind and the sensory organs. So what happens is that the activities of the mind and the sensory organs cannot be known by the pranamaya kosha or annamaya kosha, even though it is permeating through the pranamaya kosha, the annamaya kosha completely. But we can understand that the sensory organs are happening at the mind level, at the body level, but how that is being, completed as a sensory experience at the mind level, we are unable to conceive, because being the subtle nature. Tasya yaju eva shiraha. This annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, has yajurveda as the shiraha. as the head. Now, Yajurveda is the principal Veda based on which all the do's and don'ts are dictated. We should understand that this entire upasana or meditation is Vedic in nature, not our physical meditation which we do for our mental peace and etc. This is practiced by those who have understood the Vedas, 4 Vedas, and they are able to identify themselves when they say that Yajurveda is the head, means it is the principal Veda which ordains all the do's and don'ts. So they can understand that the importance of Yajurveda is as good as the head itself. Because without Yajurveda, none of the Vedic activities can be completed. Rik is a Dakshina Pakshaha, is the right wing. Rik means the meter. Rik Veda is the meter, based on the meter. Most of the Rig Vedas is full of chandas, based on the chandas or the meter in which it is sung. So it is considered to be the right side, that because most of the important activities of the yajna or the yaga takes place with the right hand. And Sama Uttara Pakshaha. Sama means the hymns or the rhythm or the singing of the Vedas is in the Sama Veda, and that is on the left side. And in the Yajna, the Ritik who stands the Rig Vedas, Yajurveda, etc., sits on the right hand side, and the one who does the Sama Veda sits on the left side. Adesha Atma. Adesha means the injunction. The real intent, the central portion of the Yajurveda, which dictates what you call the do's and don'ts. That is the body, Atma, mean body here, of the mind. So, because when the do's and don'ts are being there, it is in the mind in which one has to remember all those do's and don'ts. Based on that only, that is why it is considered as the principle, it is the body of the Manonaya Kosa. Atharvangirasa Pucham Pratishta. The Atharva Veda is the Pratishta or the seat. So the Advaryu and the Atharva Veda who chants, he is sitting in a seat which is considered to be the final seat for the final oblation, etc. So therefore, this is how one has to meditate upon the Manonaya Kosha for this Vedic Upasana. Now, when it is considered for the Vedic Upasana, the mind and the sense organs and the one who has followed the Vedic study will be able to relate to the form of meditation under which he has to do for the subtle Manomaya Kosha. Tatabi esha sloko bhavati. There is this following mantra which is regarding to the Manomaya Kosha. Yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidwan na bipeti katachaneti tasyesha eva sharira atma yah purvasya tasmadva etasmad manomayad anyaha antaraha atma vijnanamaya tenesha purnaha sava yesha purushavidaha tasya purushavidatam अन्वयम् पुरुषविदः तस्य श्रद्धैव शिरः हृदम् दक्षिणपक्षः सत्यमुत्तरः पक्षः योग आत्मा महपुच्छम् प्रतिष्ठा तदप्येष श्लोको भवति. Now, subsequent to the Manomaya Kosha, subtler than the Manomaya Kosha is called what is called the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Now, before concluding the Manonaya Kosa and before the creation of the Vijnanamaya Kosa, the Upanishad is giving a statement saying, Yato vacho nivartande aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidwan na bibeti kadachena iti. Now this is repeated in the 9th subsection when the Ananda aspect is being explained, or the Brahman, the Upasana on Brahman is being mentioned. So Shankaracharya has not given commentary to this here, but other commentators have mentioned that it is referring to the mind itself, mind and the Vijnana. Yato vacho nivartande. This, both Manomaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha cannot be verbalized as this is the Manomaya Kosha, this is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. That is why the meditation of Manomaya Kosha has moved from the normal, terms which we can understand in our day-to-day life to the Vedic style, the saying that Shiraha, Rigveda is Shira, Samaveda, the Uttarapakshaha, Yeju Shiraha, Rig Dakshina Pasha, left side, right side, etc. Because it is a Vedic way in which only we can meditate upon, not Yato Vacho Nivartande, what can be understood by the normal words. Aprapya Manasa Saha. The mind and the Vijnanamaya cannot be achieved or conceived by mind. Anandam Brahmano Vidwan. But both in the mind and the Vijnanamaya and subtler than Vijnanamaya, there is something called Anandamaya, which is coming subsequently. The one who knows that, Anandam Brahmano Vidwan, one who knows Anandam is pervading from mind to Vijnana to Ananda, because that three are very subtle, which is beyond the mind and the words and the mind. So, but one who can meditate upon Ananda as the happiness, as the nature of this Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha, such a person, na bibeti katachana. He is never afraid, he never gets, threatened or fearing something. So what tasya esha eva sharira atma. So here what he is saying that Vijnanamayat, so sharira atma. So what is that saying? That this body of one who is now Vijnanam, Anandam Brahma, one who knows this thing, he becomes embodied by the very self. Tatsya Sharira Atma, that body of such a person is contained by the Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha, which is the maximum physical representation he can meditate upon as the Atma, because he has heard Atma Swarupa is Ananda Swarupa. So, but he is having the feeling of Ananda in the mind, in the experiences or the intellect level, and in the Sushupti level of Ananda. So, his Sharira means his body, embodied Atma, is the one which he identifies himself, and that is the way he knows the Brahma as Ananda. And such Ananda can also never be explained by words or cannot be, what you call imagined by the mind. But it is Ananda is not a object of imagination, but the object which gives Ananda is imaginable, but not the Ananda. Happiness can never be imagined. The happiness is a experience, and that is why it becomes embodied by happiness, and one who is embodied by happiness has no fear at all. That is why na bibeti katachana. Etasmat manomayat. Now from the manomaya, subtler than the manomaya, there is something called Vijnanamaya. Now Vijnanamaya is actually understanding or intellectual. Not the intellect per se, not the buddhi, but the understanding at the intellectual level. Tena esha purnaha. This Vijnanamaya is now pervading the manomaya. That means the understanding is taking place at the mind level and even at the sensory levels. That is why this knowing of the sensory input, the feeling of the sensory inputs giving at the mind level, and the understanding at the Vijnana level, at the Vijnanamaya level. These things are happening because this Vijnanamaya, or the fullness of the understanding, is permeating through the mind up to the sensory levels to the Pranamaya Kosa and the Annamaya Kosa. That is why anything happening into any corner of the body is also becomes known to us, or we are understanding that somebody is touching us, or some heat is being felt, or some cold is being felt. All these things are because they are all permeate from the Vijnanamaya Kosha is permeating Manomaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha is permeating the Pranamaya Kosha is permeating up to the Annamaya Kosha. Even though they are all considered sheaths for the meditation purpose, they are not separate from one another because they are all permeating from subtler level to the grossest level. Therefore, it is throughout the body. And because of that, it has got the shape of a human body, because Annamaya Sharira, up to that, it is permeating. Anu, I am Purusha Vidaha. Because of that, the human form is there even for the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So, normally what happens is that in the Panchakosha Viveka, where we say not this, we are considering them subtler, and then saying not subtler, like that, to go to Anandamaya and Anandamaya Karana, that to beyond the Anandamaya is the Atma, is how it is the Panchakosha Viveka. But whereas here is a Panchakosha Upasana. So that is why the difference has to be understood very clearly. So what happens here is that we have to know that for the Vijnanamaya Kosha, Tasya Shraddha Eva Shiraha. Shraddha here is faith. In the understanding, if we don't have faith, the understanding of the Vedas do not take place. Not only the Vedas, any knowledge, any anubhava or any experience, if it is to be understood and remembered and to be available for easy memory to recall, we need to have a faith in our sensory levels up to the intellectual level, or the Vijnanamaya Kosha. What the senses are feeding is right, and that understanding can happen only if it's the Shraddha. Therefore, Shraddha eva shiraha. That is the prime important thing. Therefore, it is a head. Ritam Dakshina Pakshaha. Ritam, we saw the Ritam Vadishyami, Satyam Vadishyami in the Shanti Mantra. At that time we had explained the Ritam and Satyam at that time. The right understanding, Dakshina Pakshaha, that is righteousness, the righteousness, or dharma, is a word which we can equate to rhythm. So that is on the right hand side. With the right side of the body is where we uphold dharma, and with the left hand side of the body we have to uphold the satyam, the truth. Only if we balance between the dharma and the satyam, or rhythm and satyam, then only our body will be in balance, our acts will be in balance, our karmas will be in balance. We will be able to do the do's, and we will be able to avoid or not to do the don'ts. So the do's and don'ts, even though is understood by the Shraddha, unless we have the balancing act of rhythm and satyam, the right and the left, by the Vijnanamaya Kosa, we will not be able to perform the righteous duties. Yoga Atma, the joining together, where the satyam and rhythm have to be applied together. It is not that the rhythm is applied separate or satyam is applied separate. The dharma and the satyam has to be applied properly. For that, the yoga of the dharma and the satyam, or the rhythm and satyam, has to take place, and that is what is called the body. The yoga atma, or the self of the Vijnanamaya Kosa. Maha Pucham Pratishta. The Maha is referring to the Avyakrita Rupam of Brahman, Atman itself, or the Hiranyagarbha, Prajapati, or Mahat. That is based because Rhythm and Satyam are not placed in the human body. That is placed in the Atma or the Brahman itself. And unless we are established or we are having the support of Atma or Brahman for our performances, unless guided by Atma or Brahman, that is what we call Isharadinam or, Devadinam, all those things which we are giving the benefit, unless guided by the Supreme, I will not able to make differentiation between what is right and wrong, what is, truth and untruth. So all those things has to be based and established on the Mahat. Mahat means the firstborn, or Hiranyagarbha itself, or that Ishvara is the one which is the support for the understanding. The understanding takes place only when it is supported by the Ishvara or the Mahat or Virat or Hiranyagarbha, all being the same, different places, different names are being used as the support. And the righteousness and the truth have to be combined together at the body level of the Vijnanamaya Kosa, with righteousness on the right side and truth on the left hand side, and faith as the guiding principle of the head. Then when we do the meditation on the Vijnanamaya Kosa, that is when the Vijnanamaya Kosa meditation becomes successful, and the person becomes Vijnanam Yatnyan Danute, Karmani Danute Vicha, Vijnanam Deva Sarve, Brahma Jyeshtam Upasate, Vijnanam Brahma Ched Veda, Tasmat Ched Na Pramadhyati, Sharire Papmano Hitva, Sarvan Kaman Samashnuta Iti. Now, from here onwards, it is entering into highly esoterical level, and we need the support of the Bhashya for understanding it properly. So I will start the Bhashya from the Anuvaka number 5. Vijnanam yatnyam tanute. Vijnanavan hi yatnyam tanoti shraddha purvakam. That means starting with yatnyanam yatnyam tanute. The English meaning given is that intellect accomplishes the sacrifice. It is also accomplished all actions. All the gods worship the intellect who is the eldest as Brahman. If a man knows intellect as Brahman and if he does not swear from it, he leaves behind the body of all evils and attains all his desires. Up to this is what I read. So, how does Shankaracharya explain this? So, Vijnanavan hi yatnyam tanoti shraddha purvakam. With the shraddha, only the Vijnanavan, one who has the proper understanding, yatnyam tanoti, undertakes the yatnya as ordained by the Vedas. Ataha Vijnanasya kartrutvam tanute iti. Therefore, Vijnanasya kartrutvam, that the doership is at the level of the understanding. Karmani cha tanute. Not only the kartrutvam, the doership, the karmani, in the doing also, this is for the Vijnanavan, one who is identifying himself as one who has understood the teachings of the Veda. Yasmat Vijnanavan Kartragam Sarvam. Therefore, as the Vijnana Kartragam Sarvam, Tasmad Yuktam Vijnanamaya Atma Brahmedi. So, Vijnanamaya Atma Brahma, Vijnanamaya Atma itself is Brahma, it becomes valid and proper only because Vijnana Kartragam Sarvam. Only one who has a proper understanding and he knows that doership, the responsibilities on the doership and what are his do's and don'ts within dharma and with maintaining the satyam, the balancing of these two, such a person who can have, he becomes Vijnanamaya Atma. He becomes embodied by the understanding. He is not separate from the understanding. He becomes one with the intellect or the understanding. And that itself is Brahma. Incha Vijnanam Brahma Sarve Devaha Indradeyaha Jeshtam. Vijnanam Brahma. This Vijnanam, this understanding is itself is Brahma for Sarve Deva, all the Devas, Indradeyaha, and even to Indradeyaha, this is Jeshtam, means this aspect of Vijnanam is the supreme most. Jeshtam means it has to be kept first. Unless Vijnanam is there, even Indra cannot become Indra. Indra is becoming Indra or the Devas are becoming Devas only because of this aspect of Vijnanamaya, identifying with Vijnanam as myself. Here, if it is applied to the Devas, how should we understand that from our normal understanding, not from the Vedic point of view? We think that we are the one who is knowing, understanding, doing and all those activities in our day-to-day life. Never we have thought that there is this intelligent principle which is permeating from the core of my essence, my Atma or my Brahman, through the different levels of my being, from the Vijnanamaya, Manonaya, Pranamaya, Annamaya. All those Maya, all those areas where the physical identification can take place, all this identification becomes possible only when the understanding is proper. This understanding, when it is not there, we are under the clutch of ignorance, avidya. And that is why we think that we are the Anna Rasamaya we are the body of the Anna Rasamaya. Therefore, we say that I am the physical body. I am become fat. I am become thin. I am become young. I am become old. All the changes in the body I am attributing to myself because I am not able to identify myself as the Vijnanamaya. And that Vijnanamaya can be achieved only if I know that unless my establishment of that Vijnanamaya is based on the Atma or the Brahman itself, which is the Pradamaja or the Virat or Brahma or Prajapati, Hiranyagarbha. Because we are talking from the creation point of view, because not the Nirguna point of Brahman. So it's a Karya Brahman, Karana Brahman. So this is the Karana Brahman where we are talking about it. So we are able to do a proper understanding, and based on which we are able to function through the body, do the proper breathing, do the proper reaction with our mind. We are not deluded by the sensory organs. We are not, confused about our knowledge about the world, etc. All these things are possible only if our understanding is perfect, and that understanding is guided, supported, and then, becomes benevolent because of that Brahman Atman in us. That is the Pratishtha, or that is the support. If we do not acknowledge the support in ourselves, and we think we are the ego, which is at the mind level, Manonaya Kosa level, then Vijnanamaya Kosa will be deluded, and that is what is called avidya. And that is why we are, most of the time, we do not even know that we have a Vijnanamaya as a Kosa, or we are embodied with a Vijnanamaya. We operate at the mind, at the body level for our living. We even do not consider Pranamaya Kosa as a necessary requirement unless we are, drowning, or we are forced to, have a suffocation. We don't even acknowledge that we are thankful to the air which is we are breathing. To that extent, we are ignorant about our Pranamaya Kosa. What to talk about the Manomaya Kosa, and the sense organs and Indriyas are being controlled by a subtler principle we call Vijnanamaya Kosa, and that Vijnanamaya Kosa is supported by the Brahman or Atman Hiranyagarbha. So even the Indradaya Devas becomes what they are only because of Vijnanam Brahma. That is what we have to understand. Pradhamajatvad. That is because that is the one which is, even for Indra to become Indra, the understanding of what is Indratvam or the nature of Indra should be there available to him as his knowledge. Then only he can function as a Indra. If a judge has to function as a judge, he should have the Vijnanam, or he should have the understanding that I am going to be a judge in the case and operating as a judge. That knowledge, if it doesn't happen, he cannot perform as a judge. If he is functioning at the mind level, he will also get confused by the arguments of the two lawyers who are presenting in front of him, the prosecution or the other side. Or it is the case with every office. Whether it's a police or a doctor or an engineer or a teacher, every function what we do in our life is based on this understanding. And if we don't even know that the understanding is important, That is why sarva vrittinam va tat purvagatvat pradamajam vijnanam brahma upasate dhyayanti. So one who knows such a thing is sis, which we know now, that there is a Vijnanamaya in me as a guiding principle, and that is nothing but Brahma itself, or that is the Pradamaja, that is the first one because of which I am what I am, not the ego, the I-ness or the I am, which is because of the Vijnanam. That is where my knowing takes place, the knowledge taking place, the intelligence takes place, the consciousness takes place, the awareness takes place. All of them are taking place at this Vijnanamaya level. Therefore, one who meditates upon Vijnanam as Brahman, tasmin Vijnanamaye Brahmanyabhimanam Kritva Upasate Ityartha. What does he mean by he is meditating on Vijnanam as Brahma? Tasmin Vijnanamaye. In this subtle body of Vijnanamaya, or the level of which understanding or intelligence or knowing takes place, the Bodha Swarupa, the Bodha nature, that is Brahmani Abhimanam. That is the identification which we have to identify ourselves, not with the physical body. That is what is called Brahma Jyeshtam Upasate. One who thinks Brahman as the firstborn, and I am the Vijnanamaya Kosa. Tasmad te mahataha brahmanaha upasanat nana aishwaryavantaha bhavanti. Tasmad, therefore, mahataha brahmanaha. This Virat Brahma, or the firstborn, upasanat, by doing the upasana on that, jnana aishwaryavantaha bhavanti. We become endowed with jnana. Jnana means the viveka, or the right knowledge of or the right understanding. And Aishwaryam means all benefits of having the knowledge within our understanding. We will never be swayed by any temptation of the sensory organs or the body or the world of objects outside. We will be able to differentiate between at what level is the functions of the body to be understood. Therefore, that jnanam, the nitya vastu vivekam, or ihamutra phala vivoga viragam, vairagyam, jnanam, all those things will happen only if one who can meditate upon this is what I am, or the fundamental nature of myself is at the Vijnanamaya level, at the Bodha level, at the understanding or intellectual level. Not at the mental level of the mind or the sensory organs, nor at the vital layer level where the pranas are taking place. Not to talk about the food level or the body which is perishing, born out of food consumed by my parents, but nourished by the food which I consume and decaying by the period of time. So one who does Aishwaryavanta, Tacha Vijnanam Brahma Chet Yadi Veda Vijanati Na Kevalam Veda Eva Tasmad Brahmanaha Chet Na Pramadyati. Brahmeshu Anatma Swatma Bhavitaha. Tasmat Praptam Vijnanamaye Brahmanyatma Abhimana Brahmanyatma Bhavanaya Pramadanam Nivrityartham Uchyate Tasmat Ched Na Pramadyati iti. So there is a word Tasmat Ched Na Pramadyati. Therefore he doesn't get deluded. Pramada means delusion. He doesn't get deluded by the world, the objects. He has a proper understanding. Why? Because तस्मिन् विज्ञानमये ब्रह्मण्य अभिमानं कृत्वा उपासते इत्यर्थः तस्मात् ब्रह्मण महता ऐश्वर्यवन्तः भवति तच्च विज्ञानं ब्रह्म चेत् यदि वेद तद् च विज्ञानं ब्रह्म चेत् वेद one who knows Vijnanam as Brahma iti yadi Veda Vijanati, one who knows that na kevalam Veda eva, not only just he knows that tasmat Brahmana ched na pramadeti. Therefore, he doesn't get confused about his fundamental reality, Brahmana Chet. That his Brahmana here, Atma, Brahma, Atma or Mahat, that aspect that this Vijnanam or this knowledge or this bodham or this experience which is being enlightened in my consciousness, that is supported by my nature, myself. That self or Brahman, one who knows that Veda, one who knows that as that, he has no delusion of anything else because his knowledge is Satya Prajna Pratishtitaha. His Prajna, his knowledge becomes established and he is no more Pramadhyati iti. I'll stop here because it is from here where we have to continue for a better understanding. I want you all to go through this aspect of what we call it as meditation on the Vijnanamaya Kosa. Up to this level, how we are able to avoid pramada or delusion. We will continue this discussion in the coming class because it's a long commentary which I felt that it is needed for proper understanding of, even though it is on meditation of Brahma or Vijnanamaya Kosa, it has application even in our day-to-day life, even in the modern world, even though it is Shankaracharya's commentary is for the people who have studied Veda and are following Vedic principle and who are going to do meditation on the Vedas. But I am bringing it basically the same thing even for modern application. So a proper understanding of this aspect will help us to graduate from the physical identification with the physical body to who we are in the coming lectures and in the rest of the Upanishad. So I'll stop here. We will take question answer session and continue from the next Wednesday. Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Binduji. Again, a very deep, immersive, meditative class. I've reset the room for hand raising, and chat is open. And Binduji will be available for another 30 minutes or so. If you have any questions, please come up and follow up with the discussion. Thank you. Hi. Namaste, Revati.
Namaste, Revati.
Namaste, Binduji. Namaste, Prakashji.
Namaste.
My question is, Binduji, till the Vijnanamaya, till the Manomaya it's the grosser level. So they are, the Upanishad is describing the Disha, Dik, and the, like what is the limbs and all as the Prithvi and all that. And from Vijnanamaya, there is no body, no, it's being subtler, so no body and all that. So it's the Brahma is, Maha is the Pucha. That is the where it stands. Is it? The difference is like, we have to understand that because it's being now the Sukshma from Manonaya. So there is no gross Prithvi and all those sheaths avoided. So the Purusha is becoming more going through this Sukshma, what's that, Bindaji, you said?
See, you have to understand, Revati, here, even up to including the Anandamaya Kosa, which is going to come later, everything is permeating up to the physical body. So the physical body identification is there even for Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. That is why I am able to understand or intellectually understand experience or know only with my body as the tool, the Annamaya Kosha as the instrument. Even the Ananda which we talk about, which will be coming later, we are not going to talk about the Ananda of the nature of Brahman. But Ananda is present even in our body because Brahman is present in our body. But because it is a kosha, my Ananda, I can only relate to my body and happiness which I experience in our body. Therefore, the body, the right, the left, the trunk and the tail, etc. is for meditation purpose. That is applicable even up to Anandamaya Kosha. But subtlest being Anandamaya Kosha, even the subtlest one is permeating up to the body level. That is why the Ananda is even felt in the physical body level. But Ananda is different, physical body is different. The knowing at the physical body level is taking place, but the knowing is different, the physical body is different. The reactions and the sensory things are happening at the mind level, at the subtler level, but it is through the body we are doing all those things. So that is why we cannot differentiate the body and the koshas separately as different things. It is permeating through the physical, through the subtlest one is permeating through the subsequent ones up to the grossest physical body. So don't differentiate between like that. That is to be understood. And when we are going subtler, the level of operation or the area of operation becomes subtler. That is why Yacho Vacho Nivartande Aprapya Manasa Saha was mentioned immediately after Manomaya Kosha. Because even the mind, by Manasa, we cannot know our mind with our mind. Neither can we explain what is mind, whether it's a mind is matter or mind is not non-matter. We cannot say that. So that is why that statement is being made. But when the same statement is used for describing Brahma, the Nirguna Brahma, that time it will come in the 9th Anuvaga. That time the same words have been commented upon by Shankaracharya, whereas here he didn't comment upon it at all. Because he wants to, but Anandagiri and others have commented upon that word which I explained that. It is to show that it is subtler than this thing, therefore it is beyond the words and the mind. But as far as the body is concerned, all the koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, all the five koshas, all the five sheaths are inside the Annamaya kosha, and everyone is permeating from the subtler to the grossest level.
Yes, Vinnaji. Thank you.
Welcome.
I confused the Manomaya is also the Jada, the gross.
No.
The gross one.
No.
No?
Gross is only Annamaya. And after Annamaya, everything is subtler. Because you don't know Vyana, Bhana, Upana, Samana, you don't know. Right? So that is why it is all subtle. We tell the prana, we know prana because we take the air, and apana is the air we breathe out. So we know prana and apana, but the other three we don't know. Vyana, Udana, Samana.
Yes.
Namaste, Srini. Yeah, any questions, Sravati? You're done?
Yes, Vinnaji, I am done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Binduji, my question was, is it right to say that there is no multiplicity at the level of Vijnanamaya Kosha? I don't know in what way to put the question, but because it is very clear till Manomaya Kosha, there is a multiplicity available, right? So at the level of, if we say it is buddhi or intellect, for me it feels like there cannot be multiplicity at that level, and multiplicity kind of ends at Manomaya Kosha. So what do you think?
Multiplicity is there because Esham Purusha Vidaha. Your mind can identify only you. Your mind cannot know somebody else's mind. Same way, your understanding or your intelligence or your knowledge or awareness is still related with your physical boundary of the physical body. Therefore, the multiplicity is accepted at even up to Anandamaya level.
Oh, even up to, actually I remember, I think in one of the QA sessions, you said, yeah, this will come in. I think similar question I had, and you said you said the same thing, that even at the Anandamaya level, there is multiplicity, and we will discuss in Taittareeya. Now it struck me. But it is not possible that even, for example, the earlier question, earlier in the session you covered that Annamaya cannot have any visibility towards Pranamaya, right? The gross
No.
cannot look at the subtle.
No.
So then what does it mean that the Anandamaya is still experienced by the body?
Anandamaya is experienced because Anandamaya will have a boundary because of that.
No, because there we are saying the gross is able to look at the subtle, right? Because Anandamaya is...
No. Anandamaya is not known by the body. Anandamaya is known by the Ananda.
Yeah, it's more
But
like
we
a
think it is happening.
misconception, right? That we think that...
that is why pramadyati. That's yasna pramada. It's a pramada. Pramada means delusion. As an understanding delusion, if it happens, we think that the body is the one which is enjoying the ananda or the sukha or the, that happiness or even the sukham absorption, the happiness of the deep sleep. We think it is the physical body which is sleeping. Right?
Yes. So then that is the reason why I think there cannot be multiplicity possible in Vijnanamaya.
Because that is because you are looking reverse way. Look from the Anandamaya level down. That Anandamaya, if I am not able to relate to my body, I'm not even able to relate to other body Anandamaya also. If Anandamaya is there, somebody else sleeping, I should enjoy that happiness if I can do that. I'm not enjoying that happiness. We have in a very, very one specific chapter in Brihadaranya Upanishad where Ajatashatru and Balaki discusses on the deep sleep. They go down to a person, Ajatashatru's palace. A person will be sleeping while on duty. So Balaki will be taken to that person, and then the discussion takes place in front of the sleeping man. And he is sleeping without knowing that the king and the Brahmana is discussing about him in front of himself. He is fast asleep. So that discussion is there in the Brother Upanishad. We'll come to that later. But here also, Manushya Anandaha, then goes then Gandharva Ananda, Indrana Ananda, Brahmana Ananda, that multiplications of 100 Ananda of Manushya is Manushya Gandharvana. Manushya Gandharvana and 100 Manushya Gandharvana is become Deva Gandharva. Like that multiplication when it is being mentioned in this Upanishad, which will come in the 8th, 7th, 8th, I think 7th, 8th and 6th, 7th and 8th, or 7th and 8th Anuvaga. It will come that time it is giving multiplication of the Ananda. Unless it is related to the physical body, the multiplication of Ananda to the higher, subtler bodies of Devas and the Manushyas, Gandharvas, etc., all this thing is not possible. So, when we are saying the Ananda here, you should not confuse with the Ananda where there is ignorance or the not knowingness of the Ananda, which is confused to the Ananda. Which we say that, I knew nothing in my deep sleep. That knowingness absent is not Ananda. But there is a glimpse of Ananda there which is related to the body. That is why we call it as Ananda in the physical body. Let me complete that in my classes in the next class. Vijnanamaya,
Sure.
it's an Anandamaya will come.
I didn't want to ask now because still in next class this is going to be dealt with. But yeah,
Yes.
I think for now what I understand is it is like saying the pot is already present in the mud when the mud was still like a lump or something like that I'm thinking, but I'll wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Good question. And that normally that doubt will come to anyone.
Thank you, Binduji.
Anybody else?
Yes. Thank you, Srini. Anybody else want to come up? So we have another 15 minutes or so. Binduji, I can ask a question.
Please.
I usually come back to the Sravana Manana, Nididhyasana.
Why are you stuck with the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana?
Yeah, it's just. But I want to connect that to what you were talking about Viveka and Upasana. Can you relate those two, Viveka and Upasana?
Upasana is a attitude or a imagination or notion of intangible things being given a tangibility. That is Upasana. For example, when I am Upasana on the Shivalinga, that stone, as Shiva himself, the Shiva is unknown to me. I am bringing a tangibility of the description of Shiva in that particular Shivalinga, and then I am no more seeing the stone there, but I am seeing it as a symbol of worshipping Shiva through the stone, Shiva, that Shivalinga. Same with Saligrama or any other symbol, Om, etc. Any symbol, that is where the Upasana is taking you. Whereas Viveka is differentiate between what is true and what is untrue. That differentiation is not there in the Upasana. Upasana, the untrue is accepted as superimposed on that the truth is superimposed. And the untruth one is now getting an elevation of status of the truth thing which is to be thought about. Because truth is intangible and the intangibility has to be brought down to the tangibility. That is why that Upasana is taking place in that way. Whereas when I am doing a viveka, I am differentiating between what is right, what is wrong, what is possible, what is not possible. All the dualities I am, separating with intellect and accepting only the one which never undergoes any change, that as the final truth. Until then, things which are changing also will be appearing to be true for me. For example, the day and the night is a truth because I am experiencing it. But the day and night is true, but it is changing. Therefore, the day and night is not true. The sunlight which is giving the one which is giving the phenomenon of day and night, that is truer than the day and the night. So the sunlight becomes the further elevated level of truth. Like that, eliminating between the truth and the false, when we move toward the final truth, which will never change under any circumstances, that becomes Satyam. And that knowing that Satyam, the process which we do is called the Viveka. The Viveka is the process through which we arrive at the Satyam at the end of it. So that one is an intellectual way, the other one is an imaginary, notional or mental way. Understood?
Yes. Right. So the second one is the Upasana is more of an experiential.
Yes.
But yes, because there, what I find is, which is very, very important for a student is, for me, is how one transfers the held state of wisdom or knowledge, which could be Annamaya or Pranamaya or Manonaya or Vijnanamaya. The held state has a certain degree of holding of faith, right? A holding capacity. And then the held state is being discerned. So would you say the strength of manana increases? Would that be an appropriate way to frame that?
No, not that way. When I am meditating upon the Upasana on suppose for example, let me say the Annamaya Kosa, I am meditating upon Atma or Brahman. When I am doing that, what is my approach to Annamaya? That Annamaya from which I am born, that my physical body is born out of the food consumed by my parents. And this body at this age is grown from an embryo to this level, again by the food consumed by my mother and myself after birth. And now, on my death or on the death of a body, it goes back to the earth, which becomes manure for the plants and everything, which again comes back as food for the consumption again. This cycle is being seen by me. So that cycle, which is making me, takes me back to the creation of the earth itself, from where the plants and other things are coming. Because Prithivya Aushadayaha, from the Aushadas are coming from the Prithvi. And where does the Prithvi come? The Prithvi has born out of the Panchikarana of the half of Prithvi plus the 12.5% of the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, all those things. So when I am tracing back the route for the food from my level to each level, I am going back to the Atma. Tasmad etasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha. That level I go back and I identify that, so ultimately it is this body which I am now thinking as perishable and everything is the imperishable Atma itself, even though it appears to be perishable to me. That way I am meditating upon my physical body as Atma and going back to the imperishable Atma as the reality, even though apparently it is perishable to me in my understanding. Therefore, my understanding about my physical body is wrong, and that is how I upasa. And then subtler than in the body, I am breathing. The body is surviving because of life in it, pranam. So life is pranamaya kosha. And how is the life supported? Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Then I take from prana, upana that as atma. Because why? This air is the air which I am now seeing from as the gross air. And gross air has come again from atma. Like that, when I go from that pranamaya to manomaya kosha, then I am not going to look at the creation from atma onwards. Then what I am going to do is, that is the place where that what has been told by the Vedas becomes my acceptance. That what is the role of the mind? So in the Veda, the role of the mind has been mentioned. Where is yet manasa namanute yenahur mano madam tadeha brahmatvam vidhi nedam ididam upasate. In the Kena Upanishad it has been mentioned. So all those mantras which have been the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, wherever it has been mentioned about this, those things are now meditated upon me to understand what is the mind. And I know that the mind is percolating through the prana, because that is why I am able to sense everything in the body. Therefore, the Atma is present even in the mind, as the mind is also nothing but Atma. Everything I am reducing to Atma. Same way Vijnanamaya also is Atma. Anandamaya also is Atma. Therefore, what is my nature? I am the Atma can come only when we elevate ourselves from the gross level by identifying and doing the meditation on Atma. This is what is the process, and not discerning the way you thought it will happen.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Binduji. That's a very important point to remember in terms of how one approaches this Panchakosha. Okay. So, one more question, last question, then I'll pass it on to Ganeshji. Because, Adi Shankaracharya said in the Prasthanatraya, everything is Atma Vichara, and you correctly pointed out the actual method of practice. So, a big thank you. So, now can you bring in Vichara also into this? Vichara, Viveka. And then Upasana, obviously, we clarified. Vichara was why Atma Vichara is holding state.
Vichara is nothing but the process of Viveka. I told you what is Viveka. Is discerning between the truth and the untruth. That aspect of all walks of life, where when we reduce it to Atma or the Satyam, because Satyam Jnanam Anandam Brahma or Satchit Anandam Brahma, all that Satyam and Satyam without the Jnanam and Brahma, Anantam, is not possible for Atma. Therefore, when we are doing that process of elimination to arrive at the Satyam or the truth, what methodology we are using, that methodological process or the process through which this methodology is applied, whether it is the analysis of the 3 states of waking, dream and deep sleep, or the 5 sheaths, analyzing that, and or Nitya Nitya Vastu, what is true and what is untrue, or what is permanent, impermanent. All those methodological way, what we do is called Vichara. And when we arrive at a certain level, we are having a Viveka at that level. But that Viveka, is it final or not, has to be again thought or that through the Vichara, whether it is eternal or not, or it doesn't change. That is eternality of Satyam. Until we reach that, every stage where we are having Viveka, we are having the knowledge, but the Viveka has to be tested. That testing of Viveka is called Vichara.
Thank you, Vinodji. Thank you. Ganeshji, you can ask now. Thank you.
Namaste, Vindoji.
Namaste, Ganeshji.
I think from Vijnana Kosa, the more and more listening to these aspects is almost mandatory, I believe. Because till now, till Pranamaya Kosha, things were a little easier because it would appeal to the intellect. and now it is becoming, that is why when Revati ji asked, from here onwards, Dakshina Paksha is Rigveda, Uttara Paksha is Samaveda. And so my question is the preliminary understanding of the Vedas necessary for meditating upon these koshas, or will it reveal to us in some or the other way of our own common understanding of life through meditation?
Ganeshji, knowing of Vedas, I have got different purpose. See, Veda has got the Brahmana, Aranyaka, and the Paramimamsa, or the Upanishads. Vedanta. The Brahmana portion is purely Karmaganda, where the do's and don'ts are being given, which today nobody is practicing.
Yeah.
And the Aranyaka is Upasana or meditation based activity. Again, that is a Karmaganda, but not the ritualistic nature. But there also the Upasana has got ritualistic Upasana, in the sense that you cannot just mentally do that. You have to have Agnihotradi karma, and along with that there are Upasanas which are being mentioned. They are mostly coming under the Aranyakas. And even in the Vedanta, what we are doing now, there are meditations. So even in Vedanta, the Upasana is there. But that Upasana is for removing the Kartrutva Bhava, that you are the doership. Whereas the Upasana in the Aranyaka will not remove your Kartrutva Bhava. You are still a doer of the Vedic rituals. Only the Upasanas in the Upanishads will give you freedom from Kartrutva. And how can you do the meditation here? Because it is talking about Brahma, Jiva, Brahma, Aikyam. That there is non-dual nature for the individual and the supreme. That aspect is explained in the Upanishads, and on that you are doing the meditation, because the moment it is told, you are already a jnani. That Tattvamasi, the moment it was mentioned, it was known that you are that. But that statement has not made any effect on the individual. For that purpose, the Upasana is required, because whatever was hindering or standing in between the understanding and knowing it, the knowledge should be your experience. It sakshat aparokshat Brahma. That is the most sakshat aparoksham. The most immediate knowing or knowledge, that is Brahman. But that can never be known by meditation. The meditation is only removing the impediments in the form of Ajnana, Samshaya, Viparya. These are the three type of impediments which are making, when you heard Tattvamasi, you should have become a jnani and you should have felt it, that you are Brahman. But if you are feeling still the physical body, I am the body, or the I-ness or the ego is still being felt, that is because there is one of the three or all the three impediments which is forcing you not to accept that statement. Even though the Veda is saying it is finally going to be the truth, that we are not, even though intellectually we accept it, it has not become our experience. Swamshigaranam, right? That is where it makes that Veda will not be directly helpful, but indirectly helpful. Because we are not doing the Vedas now, or Vedic rituals.
Yeah. And when you mentioned that Rigveda is, Yajurveda is talking about the do's and don'ts, and Rigveda is the Dakshina Paksha. I just got reminded of the Stotra of Gayatri, where it is said that Hamsastha Garudarudha Tatha Vrishabhavahini Rigvedadhyayini Bhumau Drishyate Va Tapasvibihi Yajurvedam Patanti Cha Antarikshe Virajite Ya Samagapi Sarveshu Brahmyamanaya Bhuvihi. So I was just reminded of that, and I think Yajurveda speaks about the do's and don'ts you mentioned, which takes place most of the time in the mind level, intellect level. So Antarikshe Virajite could be related to that. That's what I thought, Bindoji. I wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bindoji.
Shall we
Prakash,
wind
we
up?
can close it?
Yes. So I just wanted to thank everyone for participation, and heartfelt thanks to Bindoji for guiding us through this and then patiently answering all our questions. Sometimes I'm very persistent about certain things. The recording of this is available here on Clubhouse as a replay, or it'll be uploaded onto YouTube. And the channel is called Advaita Retold. And our next session is an open Q&A on Sunday, at which point I think Artemisia will also join us, and hopefully we can have a good satsang. Over to you, Bindoji. We can close it. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash, Srini, Ganesh, and Revati for your questions. Thank you all for being there as listeners. Hope you are all getting benefited out of this. We'll continue the Upanishad on the Wednesday and Friday. And coming Sunday, we'll have general Q&A, either related to this Upanishad or anything which you have heard in my YouTube channel or the replays here. You can ask that, or in general, any Advaita related questions. So see you all on Sunday, same time, 8:30 Indian time. Hari Om. Good night.
Thank you, Bindoji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.